my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be always acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Friends, I think this is a pretty fortuitous piece of scripture to have at a time like this. That was such a human response and conversation. Did anybody pick that up? How incredibly real that seemed? You know, any of us could be having that kind of argument and conversation any time of the day. But an extremely important question for us to ask right now, certainly as a faith community. And I've had discussions with a few people over the last few days about obviously COVID-19 and what's going on in the world. And sometimes the question comes about, well, it's because of the world becoming more secular, you know, because people are not coming to God, these things happen. If we just pray hard enough, we can stop this virus, right? And I'm certainly not trying to negatively speak about that at all and the way they think about things. But if we look at this scripture today, who sinned that the man was born blind? We just read it. Who sinned that the man was born blind? No one. Who sinned that we're suffering this pandemic? No one. This is not sent by God. This is not an act of Satan. This is a natural and horrible thing which is going on throughout the world. I think we also get a little bit of a glimpse, though, as to how we can, specifically as a faith community, see this in a new light. Now, it's important we don't try and put a positive spin on something that's horrible and has affected people's lives and people losing family members and things. What followed after? Who sinned when this man was blind? He was born blind. God's glory can be seen through him. How do we use this time, which is difficult? I think that's a fair thing to say. I'm speaking on behalf of the whole congregation here, which is not a good thing to do, but I know I'm finding it extremely difficult. And I'm sure there are others feeling the same. At a time where we're now not going to be able to meet together, which is something each and every one of us needs to look to. It's something so important for us as a Christian community. In fact, it's at the heart of who we are as Christian people. And for the next while, we don't know how long that is, none of us can say that, we're not going to be able to meet together. So how can we, as a parish, more widely as a church, and even more widely than that, as a group of religious people, speak into the situation? We need to remember that we still can and should worship. We should be praying about this situation, praising and worshipping God for the many little things that we have that we can be thankful for. If this had happened, say, 50 years ago, there would be no chance of us connecting. There would be no live streams on Facebook. There would be no way of us getting involved in Zoom meetings, which I'll speak about later on, and still being face-to-face, and still being able to read Scripture together, and still being able to sing songs together. Even 50 years ago, it would be much harder to have phone trees for those who don't have the internet, to keep in contact with each other. And we wouldn't know so much about social isolation, and actually the blessing that is to try and stop the spread of something. We do have things to be thankful for. We do have things to be grateful for. Even when it may feel like we're sitting in ashes and such. So who sinned so that the man was born blind? No one. Who sinned that this is happening to us now? No one. It's interesting to see the rest of that conversation between the blind man, the Pharisees, And Jesus was this constant going back to being pure and right? Those who are sinners, those who sin. Nobody can do an act of God if they are a sinner. And yet that's exactly what Jesus was seen as by those Pharisees. How can a sinner do such things? And again, Jesus needs to remind them, stop talking about this sinner, non-sinner stuff, right? You keep condemning yourself. And he does that so beautifully in the end, right? Surely we can't be sinners. We're not blind. Surely we can't be blind. We're not sinners. Well, since you said that you are not blind and can see, your sin remains. Right? You put these judgments on yourselves. So let's remember that this is not, I can't emphasize this anymore, this is not a case of a sinful world being attacked because we're becoming less faithful. This is a time where we worship God even more fervently. This is a time when we think of each other even more often. This is a time when we reach out, not physically, but spiritually, socially, and in love. So friends, it is sad that we won't be able to meet together for a little while. It's a strange reality. Please be patient with each other and with all of us as we try and navigate how we're going to continue as a worship community, and we will come out of this stronger. But remember each other. Continue to love each other and continue to praise and worship God. In the name of God, the Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer. Amen.